B2 lesson is on two-step equations. B1 was on one step, so we're adding a second step in to these problems. I like to refer to this as the second shoe method because when you're solving equations, you must perform more than one operation on both sides. First, you determine what operations have been done to the variable, and then you undo them in the reverse order, just like you typically put on your socks, then put on your shoes, and then you have to take them off in reverse order. So for example, if you were looking to see how to solve x over 8 minus 4 equals negative 5, the first thing you're going to do is you are going to look to see what side the variable is on. Now, if x is connected to something directly, that means it's closest to that number. So if you first see that the minus 4 is farthest away, what we're going to do is we take our original problem. We are going to add 4 to both sides to get rid of what's farthest away. So we're left with x over 8 equals negative 5 plus 4 equals negative 1. So now we still have divided by 8 connected to our x, so we're going to multiply both sides by 8, remembering that these two cancel off, and we're left with x equals negative 8. If I went back through and I checked my answers, I'd have negative 8 over 8 minus 4 equals negative 5. Well, negative 8 over 8 is negative 1. Negative 1 minus 4, or plus a negative 4, is equal to negative 5. So it all checks out. So here's our next example. We are going to look at the side of the equation that has our variable, which is right here. It's directly connected to the negative 4, so we have to undo the addition and subtraction first. So I'm going to add 5 to both sides. We'll be left with negative 4m equals negative 32. Now, since we have our negative 4 directly next to m, they're connected by multiplication. We undo that with division. Negative 4 over negative 4 is 1, so 1m equals, a negative and a negative is a positive. 32 divided by 4 is going to give us 8 for our answer. If we check, negative 4 times 8 minus 5 equals negative 37. That'd be negative 32 minus 5, or plus a negative 5, equals negative 37, and it does check out. Okay, the next set of problems you'll see are pretty similar. Here we are going to look, the furthest thing from the x that's on the same side would be the plus 1. We're going to undo that first. So we're left with 4x equals 16. We'll divide both sides by 4, and x equals 4. Check over our work. 4 times 4 plus 1 equals 17. 16 plus 1 does indeed equal 17. Next, we are going to see what's farthest away. Right here, this is closest to our x, so farthest away is this minus 2. So we're going to get rid of it by adding 2 to each side. We are left with negative 2x equals negative 12. Divide by negative 2, and x equals a positive 6. Check, negative 2 minus 2 times positive 6 equals negative 14. It'd be negative 2 minus 12 equals negative 14, or add the opposite. Negative 14 equals negative 14, and it works out. Now we're going to add in a couple other steps, and so we want to remember what we've been doing. What's closest to our variable stays, and then what's farthest away we get rid of. So on this first one, we're looking at the side with the variable, and looking at this side of the equation, what's furthest away from our v is going to be this negative 3. To get rid of it, we're going to add 3 to each side. So we're left with 2v equals 10. We'll divide both sides by 2, and v equals 5. Checking our work, negative 3 plus 2 times 5 equals 7. Negative 3 plus 10 does equal 7. When you get to a problem that looks like this next one, the farthest part away from the n is going to be the divided by, so we want to undo that first, since this top part is grouped together. So we're going to multiply both sides by 3. These will cancel. N plus 5 then is going to equal 6. We'll subtract 5 from each side, and n equals 1. We'll check. 1 plus 5 divided by 3, does that equal 2? And 6 divided by 3 does equal 2. So it checks out. The next one, the farthest thing away from our x, is going to be this plus 3. To get rid of it, sorry I wrote that wrong, we're going to subtract 3 from each side. We're left with x over negative 2 equaling 5. To get rid of the division, we'll multiply by negative 2. And x equals negative 10. Check our work. 3 plus negative 10 over negative 2 equals 8. 3 plus negative 10 over negative 2 is a positive 5. And it does equal 8, so we know it works out. Moving on to the next page, the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to distribute. And so here we've got negative 12x plus negative 96 equaling negative 240. What we're going to do is we're going to see what's the furthest away, and it happens to be the negative 96. To get rid of that negative 96, we're going to add 96 to both sides, being careful that we do not forget that the 240 is negative. So we've got negative 240 plus 96, and that is going to give us negative 144. So negative 12x equals negative 144. When we divide by negative 12, we end up getting x equals positive 12. Negative 12 times 12 plus 8 equals negative 240, which is negative 12 times 20, which is negative 240, so it does work out. The next one, the farthest part that's away from our v, this is directly connected here, is our minus 11. To get rid of that, we'll add 11 to both sides. We have v over 16 equals, it's going to be negative 1. We'll multiply both sides by 16. We get v equals negative 16. We're going to check. Negative 16 over 16 minus 11 equals negative 12. Negative 1 minus 11 equals negative 12 plus the opposite. It does equal negative 12, so it checks out. Moving on to the next one, we've got this part here that's directly connected, so we have to undo the minus 9 first. We've got p over negative 2 equaling negative 2. We have to get rid of that dividing by negative 2, so we'll multiply by negative 2. And p equals positive 4. 4 over negative 2 minus 9 equals negative 11, which is negative 2 minus 9, which you add the opposite and it works out. Good. When you get to one where you have the distributive property, you want to do that first. So positive 33 plus negative 3m equals 48. What's farthest away would be the 33, so we're going to get rid of that first. We get negative 3m equals 15. Divide by negative 3, and m equals negative 5. We'll check our work. Negative 3 times negative 11 plus negative 5 equals 48. Negative 3 times negative 16 does indeed equal positive 48. Perfect. On to the last slide. Whenever you see a grouping like this over a denominator, you want to get rid of the denominator first. So we multiply both sides by 5. 11 plus n equals 35. Subtract 11, and n equals 24. So we'll check. 11 plus 24 divided by 5 equals 7. 35 divided by 5 does equal 7, so it checks out. The next one is going to be the same, so we're going to multiply both sides by 14. N minus 4 equals negative 28. We'll add 4 to each side. We get n equals negative 24. Check our work. Add the opposite. Negative 28 divided by 14 equals negative 2. It checks out.